May I call to order this work session for the Plain Township Board of Trustees. The specific subject of our work session here is the formal swearing in of our new fire chief. What we're going to do is we're going to have former chief and current trustee John Sabo perform the swearing in. We'll have a couple comments by the trustees and then followed by Chuck, and then obviously plenty of time for pictures and stuff up until 6 o'clock. If it pushes up until then, we may have to push pictures outside so we can pick up with our meeting. But that being said, John, I'll turn it over to you. Perfect to start.
Chuck, come right out here. I want you to stand up here so everybody can see you. Nobody wants to see me, so you stand up there. And I think what we'll do the formal swearing in, then we'll do the badge pinning, and then each one of us just want to say a couple words, and then he's going to have the floor. Okay? First of all, we appreciate everybody coming. I know Chuck really feels happy that everybody came. You know, I think this is a pretty exciting time for him and an exciting time for all of you guys as well. So let's do this formality. You ready? Okay, raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Charles Schomburger,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution, laws, and resolutions
the Constitution, laws, and resolutions
of the United States, State of Ohio, and Plain Township.
of the United States, State of Ohio, and Plain Township.
And I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially,
I will faithfully, impartially,
and honestly, discharge my duties as chief
discharge my duties as chief
of the Plain Township Fire Department,
of the Plain Township Fire Department,
protecting life and property,
protecting life and property,
respecting the rules,
respecting the rules,
regulations,
regulations,
and policies
and policies,
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
and understanding.
and understanding.
Congratulations, it's my pleasure. I would like to do the badge pinning.
Actually, come up to Chuck. We've got your official chief pin. We'll ask your wife to pin that on you. Sorry about that.
Just a couple, but I'll go last.
Well, it really is a privilege and an honor to get to have been part of the board that gets to appoint Chuck as next fire chief. You know, we're looking for Chuck to take this organization a whole other level. We're looking for him to empower a lot of you guys to take a lot of initiatives and ideas that you have, and I'm sure many of you are chomping at the bit yourselves to be able to stomp on the gas pedal and run with that, because it's ultimately going to make Plain Township greater as a whole, not only from a safety aspect, but from how effective and efficient we operate. And I'm proud, Chuck, in the 7 years I've been here, I know the reputation that you've established from your work ethic, your character, and your integrity, and the last 2-3 years as deputy chief, how you've made things happen behind the scenes, whether it's management, numbers, the whole 9 yards. So extremely proud to get to call you our chief, and knowing that our township safety and well-being from a fire and EMS perspective is in your hands.
Hello, everyone. It is an honor, and after the decision was made and Chuck then knew that he was going to become the chief, I called him up, was it the next day, and I said, it just hit me over the head. I said, I didn't make a big fuss. I said, and I just realized, you are now going to be the chief, the next chief of Plain Township. And it was like, and I apologized to him. I said, I'm sorry that I didn't, it kind of struck me as, you know, I mean, I was honored and happy for him, but it was like, it just hit me like, you didn't make more of a fuss. And that fuss, what I mean is that it's such an honor now that he's going to become our next chief, which I think is the greatest township. And I always have, you know, again, for you guys that are sitting in this audience, a great deal of respect for what you've done. Again, you're all a special group of people that are actually, it's a gift, I think, from God, because not everybody can do this job. And then for you now to be part and to serve and be in charge of this, it's an honor. And I'm going to really look forward to working with you. You've already been calling me, and I like the communication, and it's just an honor. And I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of this whole organization that we have as our fire department.
Well, for me, it just becomes a matter of pride. You know, when you take a look historically at where we came from and where we are right now, that's been a long, long journey. But when you look at it and think about it, Chuck is the 4th township chief, and that shows a lot about our tradition, our history, and you know, for me, you know, both of these guys use the word honor, and for me it truly is an honor, because, you know, I had the opportunity to watch him get hired, I had the opportunity to watch him grow, I had the opportunity to watch him become a professional. And, you know, it was special for me, and actually probably as special for him. He earned it, and I know he's going to do a good job. I know his family's proud of him, and I know we're all proud of him. So we wish the best of luck.
They're not all.
These won't be handwritten.
They told me the first thing I had to do is be long-winded to be the fire chief, so I tried to keep it short. So, I just want to thank everybody for taking time out of their day to be here. I know it's early in the afternoon, may have to leave work early and all that, so I appreciate you attending this evening. I want to thank the township residents for their continuing support of the fire department. They've let us grow with tax levies and, you know, to meet the needs of our community. So I want to thank the residents for, you know, allowing this to happen. The Board of Trustees, Mr. Oz, Mr. Lino, and Mr. Sabo for having the confidence in me and promoting me to this position. I appreciate that, and I, you know, appreciate the words tonight that you've given me. So, Administrator Lisa Campbell for the support for the fire department. She's always been good to us. She's helped me with some of the budgetary stuff and that over the years. The other department heads and legal staff, Mr. Williams, I've called on him. Mr. Wolf, Mr. Ferraro, Mr. Steinberg, Joe's on vacation, or he had a vacation this evening, and they've all helped me kind of grow into some of the spots that I've over the last year or so here. To my wife, Stephanie, you know, through all the years, she stayed, you know, supportive of the fire department. You know, she goes back to when the Plectron was in the house and made the squeal noise, and said, make sure you turn that thing off on the way outside. You know. My son and daughter, obviously, they give up some extra things, you know, throughout the years. Stacy had to go back to school tonight, so she wasn't able to get here. She had to leave around 2:30 to get back to school over there. My mom, for giving me good work ethic and drive, always getting things done. My sister, she's a veteran and always a good role model for me. The past fire chiefs that have taken time to challenge me and let me grow professionally, from former Chief Clarence Snyder, to Chief Sabo, to Chief Don Snyder, and for Chief Kraft, that continues to assist me in training and other things that we do in the fire department. All valuable assets to me. I've learned a lot from them over the years. You know, just watching what they do, interacting with people. So, the members of the fire department that I've worked with for over 30 years. You know, the Mike Lowe Millers, went to fire school, and some of the other guys that we've been around since high school. So, and the other guys that, you know, we've worked together I appreciate their support and helping me get better with the job. You know, we have a lot going forward to us. We passed our levy last year. We have 7 new employees, so we're growing, and you know, the township has supported us in that growth. So we've had a great history of leaders that moved the fire department forward, whether it was start with the paramedic program with Clarence Snyder, building a training building, adding more personnel, or building a new fire station. They've all done things to advance our department and help the community needs. So it's my challenge to keep us going forward with technology, new vehicles, and infrastructure to lead us, you know, to the next wave of things that we encounter. So whether it's, you know, fire prevention programs, patient lifts, fires, or medical calls, all the members of our fire department are top-notch. We have good training and equipment and tools to do the job. And that's all because of the trustees' support and the taxpayers of Plain Township. And I think one thing I always kept in my heart was the fire department only exists to serve those who protects. It's not a self-serving organization. So if the people didn't want us to protect them and have the tools and equipment to do that, we wouldn't exist. So that's the way I always looked at it, was we were here to serve them. We have solid partnerships that we built through many years with Stark County Sheriff, who's here tonight, Plain local schools, area fire departments, Red Cross, other fire chiefs throughout the area. So we want to continue those bonds and keep things moving forward. You know, as they say, it's kind of a bad thing now because Chrysler went bankrupt, but Lee Iacocca, at one time who was on top of the world at Ford and some of the other ones, said you can lead, follow, or get left behind. And we've shown in Plain Township that we're leaders and we won't get left behind. So I want to continue that tradition, move forward, you know, take some of the programs that have been valuable to us and maybe expand upon them. Because this community is a great community, and we, you know, I appreciate working every day. And I think you know me well enough that, you know, I'll work from dawn to dark, and I'll be there the next day. So always give me a call. We'll keep things going, and I look forward to working for you and with you. So thanks a lot for coming.
Maybe if anybody wants to do anything with pictures or anything like that, please feel.
And the most important thing is, where I'm from, we always have a cake. So my mom brought a big giant cake. It's over in the conference room. So when you're done, before you leave, make sure you get a piece of cake. So if not, I take it all home and eat it myself.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yes, yes. Anybody wants to come forward?
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we would have shortened up if we knew there was a cake. Will you see if we have plates and our forks over there? You're going to
I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Plain Township Board of Trustees for Tuesday, October 11th, 2016. If everybody else stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before us, we do have our agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections by fellow board members or department heads at this time? Okay, the agenda will stand as presented. The first item on the agenda, unfinished business. I'm going to turn that over to our administrator, Mrs. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution to enter into the attached contract addendum with the Eric Ryan Corporation, which was signed on August 2nd, 2016, and executed by ERC on August 3rd, 2016.
I will so move.
I'll second. Discussion.
Yes, our fiscal officer, Mr. Wolf, was able to reduce the share on findings for our telephone to 30% because our new chief had already been working with AT&T on finding savings. And at that time, I don't think the whole board, myself or Tom, had known that that was already in the works. So he did renegotiate that portion of the contract. So they did find savings that we were unaware of, all the while our chief has found some significant savings also. So what I have is that amendment for, Mr. Wolf, did you sign that contract the last time, or did?
I had signed.
Okay, so for Trustee Hawes.
Yeah, because the client's got the initials down.
Okay.
Well, again, thanks, Audie, taking that lead out of the fiscal office, and Chuck as well, just for what you guys had already initiated, that we simply may have lost visibility or not had awareness to, so.
Yeah, and I have to say thanks to Mr. Wolf, because he reached out and is bringing that savings back to our table, but to our chief, he has spent hours going through these bills and finding savings that will be significant to the township, but these bills were just kind of a nightmare to go through. And he's really made sense, and all departments will really see a nice savings. So thank you very much.
No further discussion, roll call, please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes, sir.
That's the end of unfinished business.
Okay, that will take us to new business, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize the trustees, fiscal officer, administrator, and department heads to attend the 2017 Ohio Township Association Winter Conference in Columbus from January 25th to 28th, and to authorize payment of the pre-registration fee, lodging, and reimbursement for food, mileage, and parking for those attending according to our travel policy from Fund 01A03.
I will so move. Second. Discussion, just clarification, I've done it every year since I've been here. If there's any department head that may find there's other training outside of the winter conference that is more beneficial to you, to our team, to the township, instead of going to this, please advise the board of that. I'd much rather be approving that expense that we get direct benefit from than just, yep, hey, we're gonna send everybody down, because that's what all the township associations have done. I know we've done some of that in the past with parks. I'm not sure, prior to Tom being here, if we've done, I think, some stuff, even potentially with zoning, but I mean, let's make sure we're taking advantage of anything else that may be out there. Otherwise, as always, once the class schedule comes out, coordinate our efforts so we can cover as many bases as possible. If there's no further discussion, roll call, please.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And then item number 2, I'm going to turn over to our fire chief, Chief Schallenberger, because he did attend the stakeholder meeting today, and just if you want to provide the board with any updates, that would be appreciated.
We had a meeting at ODOT today on Route 62, preliminary plans for that 62 roadway improvement, which would be from Market to Maple. And Road Superintendent Joe, I see, went to some of the other ones before me, but he's involved in that too. They put up 10 different proposed plans, basically. They were getting input from, business owners and property owners along there, trying to see, get feedback, I guess, tonight from that meeting. And from fire aspect, depending on what they do with that, I might need some hydrants, I have some egress issues. And Joe would also have, they put cul-de-sacs, would have more cul-de-sacs to plow. So there is some issues for us, logistically, and so they were kind of reaching out to the business owners to see what they could do. So, and I got the plans, and so does Joe, so we can make copies of those. Yeah.
Joe made copies.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, we've got,
So there's 10 different ones. all uniquely different, I guess you'd say.
Yeah,
Some
there's-
are just reversed of the opposite. So, but it does impact definitely fire and road for sure. So, for egress across the road
Yeah.
and residents and some other stuff.
I know, at least from a first glance, I mean, there's obviously outside of what you guys have already noted is more obvious ones. Literally, how this is gonna reroute traffic back through allotments. We already know we get complaints of heavy
It's gonna be common.
traffic and how that's gonna work, but you know, whether they push 62 north or whether they shift it south, I mean, we're here to represent the residents, and obviously if it shifts north, I think that's gonna have more of an immediate impact on the residents, because that's pretty well all homes along there, no commercial, but, you know, I wish there was a way that we can ultimately get some direct feedback, because I have a belief that, you know, ODOT's probably sending them communications, those residents who will be responding to them, we really need for them to be able to get to us as well, so we can help, you know, drive their concerns. It may end up being that, hey, a lot of them are looking to sell, but, you know, how easy is it to sell something on 62? They may be dancing a jig that, hey, it's finally happening. But then, you know, as well, we've always spoken collectively that, you know, we've got a limited commercial corridor. And, you know, quite frankly, right along this whole stretch, there are some businesses along there, you know, and how those would be impacted, you know, knowing what we've already talked through on the Edgewood and access management. Guaranteed access management is going to play very heavily in here, so, you know.
A lot of those business owners were at that meeting. I mean, I recognize, you know, some faces there from long-standing businesses along 62 there.
Did you happen to overhear any of their comments or concerns, thoughts? Or
I think they were just trying to figure out what comments would have impact towards the project. You know, they were just asking some general questions, you know, because obviously none of the plans are approved yet, so it's at that very early stage, but the gentleman from ODOT, he said that it's funded, so it's just a matter of when it's, you know, would happen.
As I say, I noted in my conversation with Joe, he seemed to think it was right around the five-year window. So last thing we want to do is,
This actually started when I was fire chief. We saw a couple of these bizarre proposals then. They've changed it up a little bit, but boy, that kind of ties your hands on some of these though.
Yeah.
As far as you being able to get in and out of the south side.
Yeah. And then I got the railway issue that
Yeah,
we use
that's right.
62 versus the other, but yeah. And,
I was gonna say that, how,
and they did say that the roundabout at 30th and Harrisburg, I guess you'd say, that is a go. I'm not sure exactly when that's gonna start, but,
my God, how much money are they dumping into this stretch of
Yeah.
Aaron,
62?
how much power do we have? We already got, our issues already fire and road. Hopefully, we work together as a whole, but if it gets to the point where it's more for them and less for us after we brought those to them, what powers do we have to?
Who's the them?
Well,
ODOT.
ODOT. I mean, we got fire issues and road issues. And who takes precedence? Are our concerns going to be mentioned? Are they going to be acted upon? Or if they're not, he's got a problem, Rose has a problem, then what do we do?
I think it's a serious enough problem, you might have to file an injunction.
That's what
I mean, I think
If it goes
from a high level, the only thing we're gonna have to be able to lean on if we don't feel we're being heard is leaning on our state legislators,
Yeah.
you know, Mrs.
Yeah.
Hagan, Mr. Schuring, Mr. Rolleslager.
Yeah. And just be ready, I mean, if it doesn't go the way you want it to, be prepared that before something that can't be undone is done, you might have to file something.
Because, I mean, you figure, I mean, this isn't too far from the whole Hall of Fame
No.
Village thing. I mean, you're talking around,
Yeah.
roundabout at Middle
Mhm.
Branch, Harrison, then you're
Yeah.
jumping a little further west, you got this. And then, I mean, all the conversations we're having on that 62, 77 Hall of Fame interchange area, you know, are these all being collectively, evaluated how the compounded effect of it? Because, I mean, it's within close enough distance that, hey, this makes sense for this section, but this ain't a good happen.
Well, you can tell they're trying real hard to not have so many stops in that stretch of 62. Because even if they do, they have one that's actually totally eliminating any stoplights until you get down to the intersection at 62, if I looked at it right.
Yeah.
But that also blocks off all the cross streets. So you guys would never be able to turn into that neighborhood off of 62.
Right.
See, there's a huge concern there.
It would be from Middle Branch or
That's all.
Spangler, you have to come from Market. Yeah, that's
that
right.
could be- That's what I'm saying, that's why I was asking,
Yeah.
what it stands for.
But there's a couple that actually don't look too bad. You know, they're kind of the best of both worlds. You know, a lot of those you can't, like if you're traveling north, they're gonna put islands so you can't turn left on the 62, which to me makes sense. There's not gonna be a light there. You don't want anybody pulling out going left. But that would still allow you guys to come in off of 62 either direction, if I looked at it right.
Yes, I think they're just looking for input from
Oh, yeah.
residents and
Yeah.
business owners to kind of
That's
see.
what we did.
Yeah.
We need to hold our ground.
And I know Joe will certainly
Yeah.
speak up in anything that makes it appear that it's gonna logistically create a problem, you know, both maintenance and snowplow.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Any further discussion just on this topic? Thanks, Chuck, for the update.
Item 3 is the need to reschedule the first meeting in November. The first meeting in November falls on Election Day. So,
They just changed the polling location or something, so we can keep that.
or
Just
change
kidding, just
change
kidding.
Election Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we looking at?
Well, my problem is
You can't
Well,
do
like
it the
David,
7th because
it'll
they
be
bring
set
all
up.
the
So I have to do
equipment.
but they'll have it tear down by the evening
Oh,
of
they
the
have it,
8th,
they take it down that night,
because they've got to pull the.
yeah.
Looking at it, the doors stay sealed till they pick it up.
Yeah, they have it, they take it down that night,
We're moving it to the 9th.
yeah. But the 9th would make the most sense instead of, if you do it a week prior, then you have back-to-back meetings.
Right.
Same day,
Yes.
the 9th
There
would
won't
be.
be much.
No,
Do you want to do back-to-back meeting, or do you want to just do
no,
it
I
tonight?
mean, you won't have much business
What do
really.
you think, Tom? I mean,
I really have no preference, so whatever works.
Should we do the 9th, or should we do it back-to-back?
I think we go to the 9th.
Yeah.
If you do it back to back, we're going to be, I can set us
Yeah.
for a record, the fastest meeting ever probably. On that note, 'cause we're not going to have much to discuss on it.
I think you're right.
When-
It might help, I mean, we're only 2 days away from the veterans.
Right, you know what,
So
that-
that might help with some last
Yeah,
minute
that's
stuff.
true.
We
And
have to-
probably, why don't we have a work session about, set it aside for veterans?
Yeah,
So Rob can walk us through, we have a
That's-
last, that probably makes the most sense.
it's actually less than 2 days out.
Yeah.
So,
So Wednesday, the 9th, work session at 5:20, so I'll get that out to the media, I'll email you all, you don't have to worry about writing that down. That was good thinking.
I'm good.
Okay, thank you very much. And then number 3 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to approve and authorize payment for Hillshire Clark Electric Company for lighting at the Veterans Memorial Monument. I'm sorry, number 4, at Veterans Park in the amount of $9,535 from Fund 01F02A.
So moved. Discussion.
The board received 2 quotes. This one has both an extra light, which is needed, and an outlet up there, which will be needed for a sound system, or really anything that could come up. And the amount that the Rotary donated, the $10,000, when we have our amended certificate, will totally cover the amount of the electric. So,
Yeah, I mean, that's a big, I mean,
That's been our biggest investment so far.
Is it wise in the concrete? I mean, this we've outrageous.
Yeah.
Backfill.
Yeah, and they wanted that to be used this year, so I think they'd be happy to know that.
They wouldn't care for, like, in other words, normally what they do, it stands out, you know, they do a pavilion, that's the pavilion, this will be.
Yeah.
they're-
They just
Maybe it's a
want-
placard there.
I was gonna say.
Oh, yeah, well,
Yeah,
they,
the lighting.
Okay, I just
Yeah,
said
they
something
will-
in recognition.
we
of
talked
that.
about, you know, Ken drew up something, and I'll get a picture of it, and it'd have the Rotary emblem on it, and then if they wanted a quote on the back, in
Yeah.
recognition of their donation. Because at this point, everything
Yeah.
is a donation, not for a physical thing, and I think for some time still, it's gonna be
It's
that.
gonna
Because
be that.
we
'Cause I
still
was
need
just-
concrete, and we still,
They-
if somebody gives us, you know, another 10,000 or 5,000, it's, nobody's really purchasing something. So, yeah, we'll make sure it won't be ready for this, that design that he drew, which is really beautiful, gets approved by you guys.
Yeah, they donated to the project, not necessarily anything specific.
Not a specific
Correct.
thing.
That helps.
Um,
But I didn't know,
not to mention
sometimes
that-
you wonder if they want, you know,
Well, the contribution they're making with that lighting is a significantly lasting investment too, because it's something that will be there and is so, well, quite frankly, it's required to light up the monuments and stuff, and it's valuable to the project.
I think that's good.
And I just meant you know, they gave 10,000, and this is just almost
That's
10,000.
perfect.
So
Yeah.
when that money comes in, it can reimburse right here.
That's perfect right there.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Perfect.
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Lino,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
And then, the last item number 5, is a resolution to continue services with Planet Technologies for a 1-year agreement for our Office 365, and to authorize payment not to exceed $4,692 from the following funds. And you'll see the breakdown below from administration, fire, road, zoning, and parks based on the number of computers.
I will so move.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Lino,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mr. Hawes.
Yes.
And that's the end of new business.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. We'll take this to our fiscal officer's report. Mr. Wolf.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is a request for resolution to authorize the payment of pending warrants in amount of $151,600.29.
I will so move. Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mr. Lino.
Yes.
Item number 2 is a request for resolution to authorize payment of regular payroll in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mr. Lino.
Yes.
Item number 3 is a request for resolution to authorize payment of the following medical claims.
I'll move on fiscal officer 3.
Seconded.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Lino,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo.
Yes.
Item number 4 is the financial report.
Anybody's got any questions, see Tom or his office afterwards? Okay.
Item number 5 is a request for resolution to authorize the following transfers.
I will so move on fiscal officer number 5.
Second. Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Lino,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo.
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 6 is a request for resolution to adopt the following resolution. Whereas the Board of Trustees, in accordance with the provisions of law, has previously adopted a tax budget for the next succeeding fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2017. And whereas the Budget Commission of Stark County, Ohio, has certified its action thereon to this board, together with an estimate by the county auditor of the rate of each tax necessary to be levied by this board, and what part thereof is without and what part within the 10 mil limitation. There be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Plain Township, Stark County, Ohio, that the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and its certification be and the same are hereby accepted, and be it further resolved that there be and is hereby levied on the tax duplicate of said township the rate of each tax necessary to be levied within and without the 10 mil limitation as follows.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 7 is a request for resolution to authorize a refund as follows for overpayments for emergency medical services as requested by Ohio Billing.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 8 is a request for resolution to request an additional amended certificate of estimated resources from the Stark County Auditor for $91,472.11, and be it hereby further resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees upon certification by the Stark County Auditor to appropriate these funds as follows.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 9 is a request for a liquor license by TGD Restaurants LLC, DBA American Oven Homestyle Kitchen.
I know, unfortunately, I think Lieutenant Springer had to step
Yeah,
out.
they did.
Along with
Oh, I spoke
Sheriff-
with him.
Sheriff Funner, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the old Thanksgiving Day
Yeah, they
over
had
in the
no
venue.
issues,
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we spoke verbally about it, and you're right, exactly on the location, and they have no issues with it.
So we go ahead and move it forward.
I'm
We
good
don't
with
need
it.
to hold it
No
over.
hearing? Okay. And that concludes the Fiscal Officer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. It's going to take us to the fire department. Chief Schallenberg.
Item number 1 is our monthly report.
Is that a joint session? Is that the, is that the one you guys do with the?
That's actually a
marathon?
Wayne Fire
Yeah.
School,
Okay.
there, the confined space joint training.
No questions? Okay. Next.
Item number 2 is a resolution to recognition of service for retiring Chief Donald Snyder. The motion is, whereas Chief Donald Snyder was a dedicated member of the Plain Township Fire Department and has served the citizens of the Plain Township for over 43 years, whereas his commitment and passion in the performance of his duties undoubtedly saved lives and property, and whereas his unselfish sacrifice of time and personal lifestyle has defined the good reputation of Plain Township Fire Department. Be it hereby resolved that Plain Township Board of Trustees to recognize and honor Chief Snyder for making Plain Township a safer community by presenting him with his fire gear, helmet, badge, uniform, and turnout.
I will so move.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Only that, this was the same thing the previous board did for me, and I can tell you, I truly appreciate that. I know there are events when I still wear mine, simply as a matter of protocol.
Nice.
And, I know he will too, so.
Nice.
I think it's a good, not only a good gesture, but I know certainly he will appreciate it. And bottom line is he earned it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, well said. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 3 is Be hereby resolved that the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to authorize the purchase and payment of tires from Goodyear Commercial Tire in the amount not to exceed $6,000 to be taken from account 28A06B.
I will so move.
I'll second it.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
That concludes fire department business.
Thank you, Chief. It's going to take us to the road department. Is that our interim road superintendent tonight, Ms. Campbell?
It is, and I'd like to first talk to you about the road department. Monthly report, notice, I've done a lot of concrete curb and gutter, 31 this month. And also, we've been working on patching and potholes, you know, just getting ready for our mild winter that Trustee Hawes has promised us. Our yard waste, though, is going to pick up. I do want to point out, starting October 11th, we'll be open, today.
Today.
Yeah, that's today.
Yeah.
We're open 7 days a week, so closed all holidays and Thanksgiving weekend, and it's in the newsletter, so it's going to really pick up. And any questions about that? We're going to continue to inspect roads and oversee the yard waste. And,
Hope the leaves start coming down, and we will worry about moving out.
I know,
It could be late into the year.
it could be
that's
late,
right.
and we do close after the holidays, so after right around Thanksgiving, so we'll have to reevaluate
We might have
that.
to reevaluate, because I have a bad feeling right now that they're gonna be coming down late.
Yeah, we can reevaluate that, and we've got a good plan in place with the Parks Department with that yard waste, so even if we would go back to 3 days a week, I think we'd be okay, so. Item number 2 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize the posting of temporary no parking signs for the Bothwell Cup on the north side of Diamond Street from Middle Branch to Diamond Park Street and Middle Branch from Diamond to Prospect on the west side of the road to deter parking on either side of the street as parking in the right-of-way poses dangers to pedestrians. To be posted on October 14th and taken down on October 17th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And then road 3 is a resolution to authorize the posting of temporary no parking for the lacrosse tournament with the same verbiage as the last, to be posted on November 4th and taken down on November 7th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And then item number 4 is a little different. It's no parking for the lacrosse tournament in the Diamond Park allotment on Diamond Park from 7985 to 8151 west, on the west side of the street. On Notre Dame from 2584 to 27552 south side of the street. On Captains from 2554 to 2400 west side of the street. On Captains from 2605 to 2907 north side of the street. And on Gatekeeper from 2777 to 2805 on the north side of the street. And also the posting of no parking at all signs on the following streets: Maxim Circle, Dutch Circle, and Windmill Circle, to be posted November 4th and taken down November 7th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Road number 5 is the same verbiage as above as the last resolution for the no parking, but to be posted October 14th and to be taken down on October 17th resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Road 6 is a resolution for the Plain Township Board of Trustees for the posting of temporary no parking signs for the Bothwell Cup on Pine Tree from Easton to Forest View on the west side, and on Alpine from Alpine Park to Kirby on the north side, to be posted October 14th and taken down October 17th.
I will so move.
Second.
As far as discussion, I know we used to have a sign over it says parking in the north lot.
It'll also go up.
Okay.
Yeah, we have that.
I know there used to be something that was more permanent over there, but it seemed to be pretty well flaked and peeled and what wasn't too visible, but I mean, I will ask that our sheriff's deputies put a little extra vigilance in monitoring that through there, because I know even with these signs posted,
They'll do what they want to do.
oh my God, they park both sides of the street, and I mean, they're right up to that intersection, and Most of the residents over there, though they get upset, they've been relatively reasonable, but,
Don't our cameras cover that area?
It doesn't go that far, it goes to the gate.
Rob, will you handle that with the,
Road department?
with our
just with
sheriff?
Springer giving them the heads up that day, our guys pay a little extra attention on it, because from having lived over there, I do know.
We can also send the extra duty officer over there too periodically to check.
Yes, that's a good idea with the extra duty.
We're not gonna be afraid of the ticket,
No.
so. No further discussion, roll call, please.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And then Road 7 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize the purchase of gasoline, oil, and diesel at a cost not to exceed $20,000 from Fund 03A05A.
So moved. I'll second the discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
And then item number 8, I was going to discuss with the board this evening that the Emerald Culvert was going to begin over
By Diamond.
by Diamond, yes. And I had put out a Nixle alert today that it would be closed and there would be a detour. However, before the meeting started, I got an email from the engineer's office. And there's an issue with AEP because of the storms down south, that they are severely backed up. So I will talk with Lieutenant Springer, and we'll take off that Nixle alert because it was going to start this week. And the Diamond Culvert is not beginning as we thought this week. And when we get notice that it is going to begin, and then again, it is a backup with AEP because we have people without power and,
Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
I'll let the board know when this project is going to begin. So I didn't want to take it off the agenda, I just wanted to inform you it was going to start. We have the Nixle alert out, we'll remove it and inform the public why. And then when we get notice that it's going to start, just inform the board and the public once again. And that's the end of the road report.
Thank you, Road Superintendent Campbell.
Sure.
Okay, I'll take us to the zoning department, I'll turn that over to Mr. Farrar.
Thank you, sir. First item on the agenda is the monthly report.
Any questions? Residential construction's totally wide, no
Yes.
permits.
Yeah.
Anybody's got questions, see Tom afterwards. Next.
Item number 2 on the agenda is a resolution to proclaim items A through C as nuisance abatements.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
And item number 3 on the agenda is a resolution for nuisance payments on all abatement items A through I.
So moved.
Just A through
Yeah,
C.
I only have-
A through C.
That's all I have.
A through C.
Alpha, Bravo, Charlie.
I'm sorry, that's correct, A through C.
All
Just
right.
for the record, I think we need to go back because the first one's A through D,
Did you
instead of
say?
A through C.
Oh, well then.
Yes, we do.
So let's do the first one again.
Okay, because
I will make a motion on zoning 2, A through D, nuisance payments to move.
I'll second that.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
And again, on item number 3,
I'll move on
Oh,
3, A through C.
I'll second that.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
and that's all I have.
I have to say, the end of the year is coming, and I know I pestered you a lot, but thanks, you guys kept a lot of residents happy, you got to it right away, and nice job. And I did bug you, I got my calls. And, but people were happy. The next day, I got responded back to them, the grass was cut, or you had to take care because they said they cut it, or we had to make it, made a nice job, and thank you.
I would echo that. They helped me out on an issue that I can't believe how fast it was done.
That's largely Vince doing
Yeah,
that.
I emailed the resident back, said I'd like to take credit for that, but those guys are making us all look good with their efficiency.
And again, I mean, just taking a look at these numbers on here, what comes before the board, we know you're, I mean, to reinforce 75 to 85% mitigation before it ever even gets to the board. So, I mean, there's huge cost avoidance, or if somebody wants to frame it as cost savings by not having to go out and act on everything else that comes in. So it's not just that, hey, you're getting these 3 or 4 and we're having to push them through. It's a small portion of the overall picture, so thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It takes the Parks Department.
Nice picture.
The only, I'm pretty fond of that one too. The only one you did tonight is our monthly report, Joe.
Any questions for Mr. Steinberg?
No, thank you.
All right. That'll close Parks, nothing from our law director, nothing under communications. Does take its portion of the meeting for public speaks. Do I have our friends from the media have anything to? All right. That'll close public speaks. Concerns of trustees, Veterans Memorial sign. This is something that I asked to at least have brought forward for discussion. I know that this Veterans Monument is very near and dear, not just to me, but to everybody here. We've all got a undeniable pride here, and it was somewhere where they had one of these signs, and it, honestly, this is just wood. So whether or not we want to go the route of wood, or you want to go something more, you want to go something more, I just think the tone of when we started with Salute the Veterans, and commemorating that hillside, what this hillside is to be.
I think so.
I do too. I mean, everything there now is fine tuning to
I think it's just a.
to the class of the entire project, and I don't think we want to cut corners when we're doing this kind of stuff.
And I mean, just for the media's sake, what this simply says is, please respect the memorial and help preserve the atmosphere of calm, tranquility, and reverence. Consequently, no demonstrations allowed. So everybody knows what we're talking about.
What do you think about, because you said granite, what about like a flat granite, so it's not, or would it not be seen, like you have the flat granite as you go up, or would it not be seen?
I almost, at least on initial thought, you'd almost want something where it's
tilted.
gonna draw some type of attention, because otherwise,
Yeah.
if it's viewed as a paver, somebody could be like,
Yeah.
oh, here's another paver stomping right
Yeah.
over it.
You're right.
And, well, just that type of,
Right.
so
I'm
something, whether it's angled,
How about we give Ken Noon a call and tell him we're thinking granite, how would you set it?
Yeah, he's the man.
because I mean.
Because
he could-
Scott,
he could-
that's a
he
great
could- I mean,
idea.
he could bore two holes on the underside.
Sure.
Say, let's just say it's granite
Sure.
for the sake of
Yeah,
this.
I mean,
And, rebar it in, adhesive to where,
Yeah.
this right, when I saw this is something that can sort of get kicked or moved around. Because
Right.
honestly, when I saw it,
Yeah.
I went to like sort of just pick it up to see how heavy it was and, get a feel for it. It was just
Yeah.
wood, so.
Definitely the idea, but we want to make ours.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So,
All right, Rob will touch base with Ken and we'll,
Yes, does Linda have this picture? Because I can just
Yeah.
I can scan an email.
yeah,
Okay.
because, yeah, he's the expert there and that was important.
Do you want me to touch base with you before I send it, or just send it and see what you can come up with?
Send it, tell him granite and something that is in the ground and can't.
Just copy on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
because you guys don't want it to be able to lift it out.
it may be a point where coming off the walkway, the future walkway that ties over to the trail,
Nice idea.
along with we may, not knowing what the rest of that hillside has, going down towards the Blue Star Memorial, it may behoove us to at least consider too, because whether somebody's coming off the trail, just walking up the hill, as soon as they hit that, it's there from at least two directions, because the likelihood of somebody headed east through the tree line, the brush is
They could go either way.
very negligible,
Yeah.
or coming north over the hill through, the unmanicured part of it. If we find there's something that becomes an issue later, obviously we'll
Right.
adapt accordingly, but I just saw it and,
Yeah.
okay.
I gotta say that, thinking about.
I know, but what, when Chuck,
You know,
or I
I got
forget who I was
something I
talking
think
with
would
in the
you
back.
get there?
I was talking back with Bill Reed when, it was a couple of years ago, was down at Arlington.
No.
And they actually had to remove an individual because just sitting here chirping. And I mean, that's a place where it's dead stone
Dead
sign,
stone, right.
silence. And I know this isn't Arlington, this isn't the National Mall, but to me in Plain Township, this should have the same level of reverence, respect, and tranquility.
That's right.
Yes.
And honor, so. I think the only thing I didn't ask to have put on here, but our consortium of trustees, we do have the Township Association meeting, I think, next week?
That's in Lexington Township.
Yeah, Lexington Township. Not a whole lot that's gonna be on the agenda. Playing off the CM Center that we had over here, I'm gonna make a motion over there that we make a contribution to the CM Center to help them be able to feed 100 families with turkeys and so forth. And then, outside of that, should I interview, or even fiscal officer Wolf? I mean, if anybody's looking to become officers in the Stark County Township Association, come December, there will be election. So either hide and run or,
I think it should be Thomas.
He's shaking his head.
He's got Thomas Fisher around back.
So, that was it. Those were the only things to do. Either of my peers have anything?
No, thank you.
Okay, that'll take us to the approval of the minutes for September 27th, 2016, and I will so move on those.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes. There is a need for executive session, so be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to adjourn to executive session at 6:44 p.m. from this regular meeting as authorized under Ohio Revised Code 121.22G for the purpose and consideration of 1A, appointment of a public employee or official, 1B, employment of a public employee or official, 1F, compensation of a public employee or official.
Second.
Yeah. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.